Hello, hello, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. If you are in Liberia, we want to say, yeah, I think it's good evening. I think it's 6 p.m. in Liberia now or 7 p.m. Welcome to Liberia Shall Rise, and I am your co-host, Augustin Sharif. I'm here with Mr. Emmanuel George. He is going to be having another fascinating interview today with a very, smart and book smart and street smart doctor. So we'll have our doctor come on the show, and we are going to be having that interview shortly here for you. But Mr. George, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very great. It's a wonderful day. Good to be back on Liberia Rise and to be here again to discuss this could be you with another wonderful Liberian that is doing great things in the
Awesome.
diaspora.
Awesome. I'm not going to ask you where you are because I think every week you change your location. So I just hope you are doing well and your face look great. You look like $1 million. So far so good.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'll tell you what, go ahead and introduce our segment. Let's bring our guest on because I really want us to get this interview on the way. I don't even want to waste time to even play anything song today. So introduce the segment, introduce our guest, and we'll bring the guest on the show and we'll get going.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Emmanuel George, and I'm glad to be in your home this evening. I'm actually in Guatemala and Tiquad, so there may be an in and out. Mr. Sherry may come if we having problem with sickness. Good evening, friends on Facebook, YouTube, on Freedom FM 89.7 in Monrovia, Liberia. This is me again. I'm glad that you allow me to be in your home this evening to have another conversation on Liberia Shall Rise. This could be you. Welcome to the Liberia Shall Rise platform, the program that brings a new spin to the Liberian discourse. On this platform, we firmly believe that Liberia has all the potential to be a great nation if all of us do our part. That is the reason we do not spend countless hours discussing what ifs and what is, but we spend our time looking at what will be and what could be. Tonight, we continue on the series This Could Be You. You see, we are aware of the gloomy realities of our nation. We are aware of the documents circulating on Facebook, on various media platforms with the United States government allegedly working towards banning Liberian passport within the next 60 days. If the situation around the setting of our diplomatic passport by some officials at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Monrovia is not stopped. We are aware of the situation of the fight between the soldiers and the police in Monrovia. We are also aware of the hardships that people in Liberia are going through. We are often confronted with hundreds of Facebook Live videos that seem to serve the only purpose is to beat us to one another to stupid. There appears at times an absence of role models in our community. Have you ever stopped for a minute and thought about a Liberia that was living to its fullest potential? A Liberia that is a beacon of hope for the peoples of West Africa? A Liberia where parents are not confronted by the everyday reality of where they will be able to get the school fees for their kids, but they are confronted for the fact that life is pleasant and we are all developing in the wealth of our nation. Well, despite the unfolding gloomy news that you hear every day on the news, on the radio, whatsoever you get your stories from, there are hundreds of Liberians who are beating the odds. There is a story of success that we believe is necessary to share on this platform. From local government to the classroom, people of Liberian origins are making meaningful impact throughout the world. Their stories, their stories are ones that are highly influential because they are making great impact. We believe that if you listen to these stories, you will be motivated as we are on a platform. It is certain that we too can summon the strength to rise above our current challenges and look forward to developing and working together for a Liberia that we all look forward to. So join me tonight as I welcome my guest for this evening, Dr. Oretha Sogbie-Berko. Good, Dr. Berko, how are you this evening?
Hi, I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me on this platform today. Very excited to be here. Hi.
Oh, it's great to have you, Dr. Berko. We have heard a lot about you. We have read about you, but tonight, like the people in Liberia would like to know about you. Let me tell you that you've been relayed live in Monrovia, Liberia, on Freedom FM 89.7, and you also been relayed to 13 counties in Liberia, subdivision that Freedom FM covers. But let us start by knowing who is Dr. Berko. If I meet you on the street and want to know you, who are you?
Mm. Well, my name is Dr. Oretha Sogbie-Berko. My maiden name is Sogbie. I am a Liberian. I'm from the global trap, to be specific. Professionally, I am a nurse practitioner, a nursing professor, an entrepreneur, and a mentor. Personally, I am a mother of four. I'm a wife. I live in Baltimore, Maryland, and I am a traditional African woman. In a sense, I try to find that bridge between traditional and modern women. Um, in terms of my heritage, I'll go into that a little bit deeper as we as we get started. But yeah, I'm a Christian. I believe in God, and I wear many hats. So, in a nutshell,
Wow,
that's me.
that's great. So, what is your country of origin? Someone reading your name on the screen will say, "Ah, is she like? Where are you from, man?"
I'm from Liberia. I was born in Beaumont, actually. I don't
Oh,
remember it, but yeah, I was born in Beaumont and I lived there for the first, I think, 6 to 8 months of my life, according to my mom. And then we moved to Muscerato County. So yeah, I was
wow,
born.
that's
Mhm.
good. I mean, I've been around the Beaumont area for a very long time, and that's great. It's good to know that you were from Beaumont area. My family, at my cousins actually, who live in Beaumont, and most of my vacation was spent on that part of in that part of Liberia. But let's move. You went to Monserrado County, and how did you start your primary education? Which school you went to in Monserrado County?
Well, I went to many schools. I was about 2 years old when the war started in Liberia in 1990. Well, ooh, I just gave away my age. Anyway, Um, um, I started I was in primary school in Liberia. I think I was in kindergarten when we had to run away and go to Ivory Coast. And then we came back again after the war was over. Then I went to St. Edward's because I used to live in Lookingtown at the time. I went to St. Edward's Catholic School. I also went to St. Mary's Catholic School. And then there was another war. I went to Ivory Coast and then Ghana. I was a refugee in Ivory Coast for about 2 to 3 years. And then we came back to Liberia. I went back to St. Edward's. And then by 2001, we moved to Brownsville, Virginia, where I went to La Carey. And I attended school there from 8th grade to 12th grade. I actually graduated from La Carey Baptist Mission in Brownsville, Virginia. Yeah.
Wow, that's
Mhm.
good. St. Edward, St. Mary, and La Carey, and in and out with Cote d'Ivoire. Do you speak French?
MPMP. I understand it more than I speak it. Yeah, but there was a time I used to be fluent. I forgot about it,
Okay,
unfortunately.
what's your fondest memories of Liberia? When you sit back to look at your 12 years of school in Liberia, what memories just come hitting to you? What did you enjoy doing in Liberia when you were there? What fun you had?
Oh, well, in Liberia, especially Brownsville, growing up in Brownsville, it was a very great community to raise a family. We had a close knit relationship with our neighbors. I was a member of Zion Grove Baptist Church, so I was active
Oh,
in choir, Sunday school, and in La Carey, I was in the press club, the drama club. We had a lot of fun, definitely. It was more
one
like a community.
one thing I love about this program, when guests come here, they start talking something that just wake up my spirit. You know that my mother is was the mother of the year in Zion Grove Baptist Church. My stepfather was the father of the year. Sometime ago in Zion Grove Baptist Church.
Really,
Uh, we are located in Broadway in the Park Up from the
Marcus Corner.
Park Up corner area. Oh, you even remember it? Yeah, in the Park Up corner area. My mother and stepfather have a large piece of land over there. Yeah, so I understand where Broadway is, and it's good to know that you also a Broadway girl, grew up there in a settlement. But let's take a step forward. I'm going to do something that I think my listener will be wondering. Looking at your name, I know you have a combined name. It's Sogbie. Are you related to the famous Sogbie from Liberia, that the senator from River G County? Do you
Yes,
have any relationship to the senator?
yes, yeah. Senator Jonathan Sobe, yeah, he's my father.
Oh, awesome, 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 awesome. Good. So taking a step forward, Broadway, continuing from La and definitely you currently here in the US. What was going on? What was the push factor that brought you to the U.S.?
Well, I remember the war started, another war started 2001, 2002, 2003, what we call World War One, World War Two, World War Three. I was actually on La Curie campus when the war started, and it was one of the most traumatic experiences in my life. We were all sitting on campus, relaxing. It was like after the period after recess, and then we saw rebels running all on the campus. In like 5 minutes, things went from normal to chaos. And I had to go get my little sister. I had two sisters in school with me. And, Brosville, La Curie is a big campus. So my class were all the way up the hill, and my two sisters' classes were all the way down because they were in the elementary section, and I was in the 10th grade at the time. So I had to run to go get them. And there was like people running all over, rebels shooting, and everybody scared. And anyway, by God's grace, I was able to find them. And we walked from Brosville all the way to Jacobtown, Somalia Drive, because that's where our nearest relative was, because the entire Brosville was in chaos. About 2 years after that, my mom and her husband came to America on political asylum. So I stayed in Liberia, graduated high school, and then as soon as I graduated, I joined them in the US. This was in 2005.
Okay, so you have completed high school,
Yep.
graduated. You just flew from Monrovia straight to the U.S.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, what's my producer, Mr. Dr. Positive? He like to ask this question, so let me ask you before he comes out jumping to ask this question. He love to know what's your favorite Liberian dish.
Oh, I got a couple. I'm global, so pan butter is definitely one of them.
Oh yeah.
Pan butter and deeper, you got me. Yes.
Let me ask you this question because I was in Hapo some time ago. Do you do it this way? Monday pan butter, Tuesday pan butter, Wednesday pan butter, Thursday pan butter, Friday pan butter, Saturday pepper soup, Sunday cabbage. Is that
No,
is that how
no,
you operate? Ah,
no.
okay, okay.
That's a little bit much because pomada isn't no, 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 no. One day a week is okay. I know my grandmother used to do at least 3 days a week pambata. My grandmother actually used to run a restaurant, so she used to have
Okay.
pambata every day. So a little bit of that is true.
Okay. So, but you do pepper soup on Saturday and cabbage on Sunday.
I do pepper soup on Saturday. Cabbage some Sunday, not all the time.
Ah, okay. Good. I mean, I just getting my Maryland vibe back in me as you were talking about. I do the schedule the whole time it happened. But let me take a step forward. Now you have another question my producer like to ask is that okay, when you were in Liberia, what was the crazy things you did in school?
Um, I didn't I didn't really have the time to do a lot of crazy things in school. I wish I had, but my mom was a very tiger mom.
Mm.
There were we used to have coordination ball, we used to have dance, and some of them I wasn't allowed to go to. My mom was very protective of me. Um, Craziest thing I remember, one time I actually sneak out to go to a ball, and my mom came to the ball to get me. Like it was. It wasn't even 2 hours into the dance. I had dressed everything, and I met up with my friends, and it was just about to get started. And
Mm.
next thing I know, I heard someone saying, there she is. And I turned around, my mom came and grabbed me and yanked me out of there. For 2 months straight, everybody was talking about it in school. So
Yeah, I can honestly, I think empathize how embarrassed you were to be getting ready to groove, and then under the certain you have seen someone tapping your back, the booty you out of the room.
yeah, yeah,
That can be challenging.
it was sad. It was embarrassing, but yeah, that's one of the saddest memory I remember from high school. So embarrassing because I was really looking forward to that dance. You know?
Okay. Now, you came to the US in 2005,
Yeah.
and there's always this great expectation from, especially Liberians, when you get that visa, you getting ready, get special clothes, you come into the land of the strong and the brave, and what was your experience? Your first time entering the US? What experience did you have? Did you want it as you dream it to be, or as you thought it was going to be?
Oh, so when I first came to the US, the only thing I can describe it as is it was a cultural shock for sure. I had great expectations. I've always dreamt about living in the US. I remember when I was on La Curie, I had a couple of my friends who relative used to send them pictures of their cousins and stuff in the US. I used to imagine myself doing that. Oh, I want to be on college campus. Oh, I want to have a car. So I always love everything about America. When I came to America, expectation did not meet reality. It did not.
Hmm.
um, you know how you see people come to America and they come back home and they look so glamorous and everything look perfect, and you think that
Yeah.
it's so easy, you know. But when I came, lot of things didn't turn out the way I wanted it to go. I was very surprised. I was very disappointed. I was heartbroken. One, as soon as I graduated high school, my first thought was I'm going to America to go to college. I'm just going to go to a 4-year college, and then after that, I'm gonna go back and do 3 years of residency. In 7 years, I'll be a doctor. I had it mapped out already. I graduated high school when I was 16, so I was like, by the time I'm like 22, I'll be out of college and I'll be living this glamour life, and everything will be great, right? Uh,
Yeah.
that did not happen. First of all, I thought I was going to be living in Delaware with my mom and her husband. I ended up moving to Rhode Island to live with my biological father, and things didn't go well. Things didn't go as planned. I ended up in Pennsylvania. Um, from Pennsylvania, I went back to Rhode Island for a little bit. I couldn't get in college because I thought you could just go to college. You know, it's America. You can just get there and take an entrance test and things start. But no, you had to file paperwork. You needed student loan. You needed financial aid papers. There were systems and different steps that I didn't have. So I was very depressed. And then I found myself working at a fast food restaurant. I was at Wendy's. I started working at Wendy's, flipping burgers, doing fries, and trying to figure out a way what's next because this perfect plan I had that I thought everything was just going to unfold, it didn't happen. So I used to get on the bus to go to Wendy's. I used to take 2 different buses in the cold to go to Wendy's and work and come back home and try to save up money to go to college.
Hmm.
Yeah, so that's where that journey started.
You
And
you see, I like this piece of your journey, Norita. Sorry not to break you up, Dr. Sogbie-Berko. It's important because listener listening to you in Monroe on Freedom FM 89.7 in Liberia, and those guys following us on Facebook and YouTube. Sometimes when we look at you right now, if I look at you, just think that life was rosy. You had imagine the picture that I want our listener to get in the mind is that you came in this country, thought everything was going to be rosy. At the end of the day, you find yourself, one, I can't get into school. Two, I have to find a job, and the job you have to find have to be at the Wendy's, where you have to drive to get in 2 buses. And Rhode Island can be very cold, you know.
oh gosh,
Rhode Island
yes.
can be very cold. Yeah. So you see, these are the stories we want our listener to really get. Before we get to the success part of your story, it's good
Mhm.
for us to understand that before the only place that success comes before work is in the dictionary.
Yep.
So let's take this beautiful walk together. Now, your experience at Wendy's, how did you feel? Tell us, doctors, how did you feel? Tell us what was going on in your mind, in your body, each time you wake up in the morning to get on a cool bus. What was going on in your head at that time?
So there were many times I woke up in the morning, I did not want to go to work. I did not want to
Mm,
get in the weather because, like you said, Rhode Island or New England is very cold. But I thought about what life was like in Liberia because this was right after the war, right? I thought about how other people were living. I thought about the struggles that I faced during the war. And I said, I'm in America. It may not be the way I wanted it to be, but I am going to keep working hard and hopefully one day I can make my dreams come true. Because at that time I was depending, you know, I had this expectation that my parents was going to take care of everything. Like, you know, they were going to get me college and everything was going to be figured out. I didn't know I had to make that happen for myself. So to
mm,
come to terms with that, at first I was so upset. I was angry and I said, you know what, this is how it is. And I was having a pity party. And then after that, I realized, like, Oretha, you need to be strong for you. This is your
Wow.
life. This is
Wow.
your life. You can't blame anybody else for your life. Your parents did the best they could. This is on you now. You out of high school, you're no longer a child. That you in America. This is the greatest country in the world. Other people make it happen. You get started. So I used to give myself pep talk. So I would get on that bus. I go to Wendy's and I work. And I met other Africans and Liberians there at the very Wendy's I used to work to. They were
Mhm.
all, we all form a good relationship and we used to work every day. And still, I knew that just wasn't it, because that wasn't my goal. I still needed to be a medical doctor by age 23, according to my own timeline I had set for myself. So I'm like,
Yeah.
well, nothing is happening. I'm just here at Wendy's. Like this, I was making money. I could send money back home to my brother. I could buy scratch card to call back and talk to my friends, so that was getting me excited a little bit. I'm like, okay, well, I'm making some steps here, I'm making some strides here, but what next? And my other friends told me, you can't go to college. College is too expensive. You don't have the financial backing. You need your parents to co-sign for XYZ. Just focus on working, get yourself an apartment. Eventually, maybe in 2 years, you get a car and you live the American life. But that wasn't what I wanted. So I said, I'll figure it out. I do want to go to school, but I didn't know anybody that was in college in this environment I was in. So my aunt, well, a friend of my mom, she used to work as a nursing assistant. And she told me, well, I haven't been to college myself, but I know how to get into a nursing assistant program and you can make good money. So if you want to start there, that's something I was like, yeah, sure. So she took me to the program. I took the test, and that was where I met my best friend from Ada. And she was a Liberian. And as soon as I saw her, I ran to her. I'm like, I heard your accent. You are Liberian.
Mm.
And she
Wow.
was like, yeah. So that's how we started talking, and we entered the nursing assistant program. So now I used to go to the nursing assistant program from 7 to 2:30. And then from there, I go to Wendy's from 3 o'clock to 10 o'clock every day. So then it became 4 buses, not two anymore, 4 buses every day. And I did that for 4 months until the program was over. And then I got hired in the same nursing home that I did the program in. And then I started working as a nursing assistant. And I was making $11.50 an hour. This was
Wow.
from at Wendy's, I was making $7.10 an hour. So I was over the moon, like, yes.
Elevator. You thought the $11, the extra $4 were going to do something different, right?
In that first 2 months, I was ecstatic because this was the biggest sacrifice ever. That was my first introduction to working and going to school, and it was rough. That, like, of
Okay.
all my degrees, those 4 months were the hardest for me
Okay,
because
therefore, I want to take that trip with you later after this. I'm going to take a musical break, and when we come back, maybe Mr. Sherry may take over from me. Uh, uh, but that walk after that is very amazing. I want to walk with you briefly through that. My battery is getting crazy on me, but we'll take a musical break right now, and then we'll come back. We will continue the conversation.
okay.
Hmm. You know, okay, I think we're having technical issues, so I'll just continue on the conversation now. Um, now, Wendy's, you met this Liberian lady who became your friend, and she was able to kind of mentor you, right? Kind of say, look, you can do this, you got this,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And you see, and that's some of the things I like to share, because sometimes in life we don't know who our higher power, depending on the religion you practice, put in our way at times. Sometimes it can be just the bare minimum, but there is always someone, who is waiting to take you through that. So if do you want to share the name of this friend so we can know, or is something that is you
Oh
still
yeah.
keep private?
No, no, no. Her name is Famada Grabo.
Oh,
She's
okay.
in Rhode Island. Yeah. She and I still, like I said, she's my best friend. She's my mentor. She's been a consultant, like everything. She's been my ride to die since 2006. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So now you got your papers. You're now working
Hmm.
at a nursing home. You're on a path. You're on a path. You're on a path to becoming what you dream about. Even
Yes.
though the lower part of the cater, but you're on the path to obtaining. So what happens after that? What the progressive news after that?
Yeah. So then after 2 months, the excitement started to dwindle a little. It started to die down.
Yeah, because you get to find out that the extra $4 were nothing.
Not just the money, the job was laborious. Oh
Oh,
my God. I was
mhm,
I was 18 at the time and I weighed like 107 pounds. I was very skinny, very skinny.
mm,
And I work in a nursing home and my patients was like 350 to 500 pounds. So the lifting, the physical labor to work in a nursing home and take care of the older population. Things have improved now because now you have like Hoyle lifts, you have like machine that can help you. But back then it was you and I was like, this is not it. This is not what I'm gonna do for the rest of my life. I need to figure out something else. And but I didn't find anybody around me that was doing anything differently. So I felt stuck for a little bit until until one day I went to work and I had this combative patient and she literally punched me in the eye. And I felt like I was blind for I felt like I was never going to see again. The light went off in my eye and I cried bitterly
mm.
that day. And I was like, Oretha, you need to figure out something else. This cannot be your life. This is a stepping stone because I started to get comfortable. Once I had the job, I started to get comfortable. I started to like sidetrack from my goal, which was to go to college. But then,
Yeah, you see, I mean, not adequate because I want to talk to our listeners as you pick up this thing. Because on the walk to success, there is always distraction.
yep,
And sometimes this distraction can look very entertaining, very exciting. And I'm glad you bring it up yourself because perhaps working in a group home now, you're not making 750, you're making 1150 in a nursing home, you're making a little extra $4. Maybe you move to a better apartment, things seems to be going the way you think. And
mhm,
at this point in time, you start to become comfortable. And many of us Liberians, we become very comfortable in life. And
yeah,
I remember interviewing some former Liberian ambassadors, say in the 1970s. It was easy to give Liberians visa to come to the US because we knew for sure that they will come back to Liberia. We knew for sure they will come back because we are very quick to get complacent. Moving to other places is difficult for us Liberians, but things have changed. Life is different now. So it's easy for us to get complacent. Those of you who are listening to me on Freedom FM in 9.7 on Facebook, YouTube, this is what happened to us. Sometimes we have these great dreams, but then distraction comes in and we think the distraction is the end of our dream. But
yeah.
we need to have a reality check. And I'm sure our guests had a reality check. So let's go on. When that reality check came to you, what happened, man?
So that reality check hit, and I realized, okay, Aretha, you're doing good. You have a job, it's stable, but now you need to get back on track. Okay. So then I went with my friend Famada again, and the two of us went to college and we applied um, to start school. We took the entrance test and we both passed. I was actually very excited because I thought, because I was surprised that I scored a 92 on the math test and then I scored 98 on the actually no 96 on the English test, and I was overjoyed. So I went to her and I'm like, guess what? I aced the test. I aced the test. And she was like, yeah, I did okay too. And I was like, you don't have to be embarrassed. I know I'm smart, but you don't have to be embarrassed. Just tell me how much, what you got. And she didn't want to show me her paper. So I kind of yank it from her hand and I look at it. This girl had a 98 in math and a 99 in English. And I was jumping over for 92. And I was like, what? I was so excited. Are you there? I was so excited that, I was friends with someone who was so smart and someone who was so determined. So I kept on being friends with her and we tried to figure out how to go to college and how to move forward. But then I hit another snag. I couldn't get the paperwork I needed to start school. They wanted my parents' information. And at that time, my father wasn't in the States and I didn't have any paperwork for that. So she went ahead and I moved to Maryland to stay with my uncle. So that's how I closed that chapter of Rhode Island. When I moved to Maryland, I started to go to a community college. I found another job in a nursing home, and this was able to support me as I went through, as I found myself doing my prerequisite. I was able to complete my prerequisite in like a year and a half, and then I started community college and did my nursing degree. So this was number one triumph, my first triumph to the nursing world, and I was super excited. I had an associate's degree, and I felt like I was on top of the world. Um, I'll pause right now. You're muted. You're muted.
I'm just gonna take over for Mr. George. I think you got him laughing so much his internet went off. But no, I think you got some fans over here, and I'm just sitting here reading comments, and I can't help but to listen to this one from Carolyn that says, I'm not gonna put it up there, but I think it's just a funny comment. I think it's crazy. But you got some fans over here actually cheering you on.
Okay.
But I really like the part of the story where you are, because most of us have been opportune to come to this country, and when we get to this country, some of us we get to that place where we get super comfortable and we just get still. We don't move forward.
Mhm.
And you could be here for 10, 20 years. Before you know it, you are still going around in circles and you have not moved. You have not taken that next direction. So, I mean, I'm just going back to 2006 as a young person. You're thinking to yourself that I still want more. There's
Yeah.
still better. There are better things for me to do. I think the fact that you did not stay comfortable in that particular space. I mean, $11 an hour in 2006. I mean,
That was
you were
good
getting somewhere. You were you are going somewhere, but but you knew that was not it. That was not the dream. That was not what you set up for yourself in
Mhm.
Liberia. While you were in Liberia, that was not the goal.
No.
Whether you were sending $50 to Liberia, that was not the goal. You wanted
Yeah.
more. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, how long did it take you though? Now you got an associate degree. You could have again stopped there and said, look, this is it. I got something better. Instead of being a CNA, maybe I can be something.
Mhm.
You could have stopped there, but you decided to get a little bit more. So what was the next step like?
Okay. So I actually didn't go straight to RN. Actually, when I became a CNA, I got my LPN license, which is a licensed practical nurse. I got that. And then I got my RN, which was the associate's degree. So all through that time, I was still in the nursing home working the 3 to 11 shift, and then going to school in the mornings from like 7 to 3, and then come back and go to work. So trying to navigate that. I think one of the things that kept me going was the fact that the people that I associated with. It's so important in your environment. You have to rise to the level of your environment.
Sure.
The people I was associating myself with in the nursing home, we all made a pact that we were going to go to school. So every semester, one person had graduated and was doing something. So we saw that progression, and we just kept on pushing one another. That's different than when you're in an environment where people are just partying and not doing nothing. It's easy for you to get distracted. So I think that was one of the things that worked for me. The women that I work with, they were all so super determined to do something. And it wasn't just Liberians. There were some from Nigeria. I had another friend from Sierra Leone. We were all West African, and we kept on pushing one another through. So even to leave from my LPN to get my RN, I was a little reluctant because I was working, I was making more money. But then I saw other people, I saw my friends progressing, and that also kept me encouraged. Peer pressure works both ways. It can be for the negative and it can be for the positive, right? So that worked for me in a positive way because my friend she just kept on going on. And for Mada and I, even though we weren't in the same state anymore, we had a pact. So she too was in a community college and I was in a community college, and we used to talk every day and talk about our problems and talk about school and all of that. But I'm going to share this one experience with you. I remember the first time I walked to my English class, English 101. And I sat in class, and the instructor said, today we are going to write a 2-page essay And it's gonna and the topic is who are you, right?
Hmm.
Or I think it was who am I, but I'm saying who are you? That was the question, but we're supposed to write about who am I. So I sat in the classroom and I'm like, okay, great. I pick up my paper and I wrote, my name is Oretha. I am from West Africa, Liberia. I have 4 siblings, and I stop. I turn around, I look at my classmates, and they are on the second page, like people just writing, 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 writing. And I just went blank. I couldn't remember the last time I wrote an essay. I think the last time I wrote an essay was when I took the Wyatt, when we
The
had to write
national exam, right?
a
Yeah.
French letter or something, because the education system in Liberia is completely different from the education system in America. In Liberia, it's more concrete learning where you read a book and you take a test based on what you study. In America, it's abstract learning. You read a book and then you tell them, what does that mean to you from your perspective? And that was a whole new thing for me. And
Hmm.
I was frozen to the spot. I couldn't I couldn't write down who am I as a person. And I'm like, college is not for me. This is not my thing. Maybe I should just stay right back in the nursing home and do, what everybody else is doing. I'm not smart enough to do this. By the time, and then the worst part about that was after you finish writing the essay, they wanted you to go up and read it. Okay. So everybody up there and they're reading, they're talking about their glamorous life that they're going to have and what they're going to do when they get out of college. I only have 5 sentences written down, and simple sentences too. My name is Oretha. I am from Liberia. I have 4 siblings. And I think I put there, I was born February 29. So I'm only 4 years old, something like that, something random like that. And I didn't know how to continue. Like I just black out and I was frozen and I was so scared and I felt dumb. I felt like I wasn't smart enough. I shouldn't even be in this class. And before they reached me to present, I ran and went to the bathroom and I stayed there to the class. Honestly, true. I stayed
Oh,
there till the whole class was over, and I stuck around to the door looking to see. And then the moment the bell rung, I went in class, got my book bag, and I said, "I'm not coming back here. I can't do this. I cannot figure out how to do this." And then I had to. And at my other assignment, I had to do type something on a Word document. I didn't know PowerPoint. I didn't know Word. All of those was foreign to me, just coming from 2004 war in Liberia to now this advanced country where everybody seems to know what they're doing. I'm the only one. I'm like, I'm not doing this. So I went
so
home, I cried, and I called my friend from Mada, and she's like, "Love, you can figure it out. Just go one step at a time. We all been through this. You can figure it out. Just go to the library and ask for help." I'm like, I'm not doing that. Everybody seems to know what they're doing. I'm not going to do that. So a lot of us get sidetrack or we get uncomfortable because we're afraid to show our vulnerability, that we don't know something. We don't want to go through that uncomfortable stage. No one
so
wants to leave their comfort zone, right? And that was the space that I found myself in. So leaving from that uncomfortable area to say, okay, I'm going to take my time and learn this and go through the process, and to stop comparing myself to the other people, because everybody else seemed to know what they were doing in the class except for me, right? So I felt defeated. I felt like this wasn't going to work out. But then at the end of the class, I kept on going, but at the end of the class, guess what? There were halfway through, there were people that dropped that class that knew how to write complete essay from the beginning to the end, and I could only write 5 simple sentences. I ended up getting an A in that class because I applied myself and because I didn't give up. Not that I was smarter than everybody that was there, but I was willing to go through the process, to go through that learning process and put it together. I learned how to write simple sentences, and then I went to compound, and then I went to declarative, and all the different ones. And I got out of there knowing how to write an essay. But first, I had to overcome my doubt.
that's
My
right. That's right.
doubt. I first had to say, Aretha, you can get through this. But I didn't do it alone. Thank God my friend was in my circle. But I was scared every day that my accent was another thing again. I'm like, I can't read in front of this class. Nobody's gonna understand what I'm saying. You know how when
No,
parents, instead of saying dog, we say lay. I was lay. Like I had to practice so many times not to say lay instead of saying duh. It was very uncomfortable. But
but but no, I mean, the story you're telling, the beautiful thing about this story is that it is not the beautiful thing about the story is that it is relatable. Okay. And each of us, we came to this country. Look, I mean, we can all go different direction. But there were times I found myself sitting in class and I feel like, man, I'm already older. I'm sitting in class with 18 and 19-year-old kids.
Right.
And these kids, by the time you get your test, they have their test questions, they're done in like 5 minutes. And I'm sitting here reading things through and I'm going through. I was like, what am I? I mean, am I that crazy? Come on, I was a valedictorian for my class. I think I'm smart. What's going on? But there
Mhm.
were those days you would be surprised. By the time those came in, you who were sitting thinking that those kids that were finishing 5 minutes before you, those kids, they flunked the class. They didn't know. I mean,
Yes.
one thing I knew about the American children, if they don't know, they will look at the test paper. They don't know it, they just give it to you and walk out. That's
And
it.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I thought they were just smart and I was just the dumb one here, And I felt so insecure. I felt like my education wasn't great. I'm like, oh my God, I don't know these things. And they're so confident. And I'm just like this shy person, like, okay, don't speak too loudly because you may say the wrong thing. Oh, don't just sit here and be invisible, right? But
Absolutely.
these are
But
the things,
I
right?
think this is one thing I want to take time again talk to our friends listening to us in Monrovia on Freedom FM 87.9. Now, those in Monrovia, sometimes you just feel like, Oretha is in America. She got it easy. Her life is glamorous. She got cars, she got houses, she got this, she got that. But, I mean, we bring up these stories on this particular platform to just tell you or to give you a little insight on what to expect. Because when we are in Liberia, our expectation, it does not match the reality we meet here, unfortunately. And so
Mhm.
as you hear these stories, hopefully it prepares you. I wish when I was coming here, I had someone to tell their story so I knew exactly what I was coming to face. We didn't
Right.
have that. But the fact that we can hear other people's stories now, hopefully it prepares you as you come in, come with that expectation that you are coming to work and actually work towards your own success and not towards anyone else's success. So thank you for sharing that part of the story. So
Thank
now
you.
you got your bachelor's degree. You got
Oh, we
this.
get the bachelor's, yeah.
We
We
got the
stay to
bachelor's here.
we stay
Let's
to
get to the
associate degree.
bachelor's because I
We stay
want
to
us to
associate
go.
degree. So we got the associate degree, and then I said, okay, I'm gonna go to the hospital and work in a hospital, right? So I'm in acute care. I'm working in the hospital. Everything is great. Everything's going good. And there's this leadership position that comes up, right? I was already running charge nurse, so I'm like, I'm gonna take my shot because I'm already doing the job. This is a promotion. I might as well go for it. So I applied for the position, and my manager tells me, Oretha, you are a good fit for this position, but you cannot get it because you don't have a bachelor's degree.
Wow.
And yeah, and this is a leadership position. So in order to do this, you need to go and get your bachelor's. So I said, okay, no problem. I register for my bachelor's, right? And I go to the first class is nursing research. I opened the syllables and I look at it and it said I need to write a research paper, right? And I need minimum of 10 sources. And then I need to critique the paper and then I need to write a literature review. By the time I don't reading the syllable, I had this massive headache, right?
Hmm.
I just closed the book. I said, okay, I don't need to be a charge. I don't need to be the nursing supervisor anymore. It's okay. I said, I don't need to be a nursing supervisor. I'm just going to do the work I be doing, and it's fine. I said, as a matter of fact, how much money am I going to make differently?
And you
I'm like
started justifying yourself. You start
making,
justifying why.
making excuses to justify why I'm so scared that I cannot pass this. I was like, I'm not going to do this. Matter of fact, I do a better job than the people that have bachelor's degree. There's no difference in pay. I made all these excuses just so I couldn't confront my fear. So instead of dropping out of the class, I didn't. I didn't even go back to the computer. I felt so dumb. I'm like, in no way I can write a research paper. I'm just gonna leave this. So I went back and I told my manager, don't hold the position for me anymore. I'm not interested. It doesn't work for me at this time and da da da. She was like, if it's the tuition, don't worry about it. We have tuition reimbursement. Imagine free
Hmm.
college. And I said,
Yeah.
no, that's not that. My family dynamic. I started speaking all kind of English. My family dynamic. doesn't match this at this time because I was scared. I
Some
was
things have
scared.
changed,
I was scared. That was it. So I went on back to doing, my regular job. And then about 6 to 9 months later, I had this Asian nurse that I was orienting, right? She had her from China. I think she came from China. And this woman is talking to me and can barely speak English. And I look on her badge and I see that she has a BSN. So I'm like, wait, did you get your BSN from here in America or back in China? She said, no, I just graduate. I just graduate. I said, how did you pass research, nursing research? She's like, oh, that class is hard. I cry every night, but I never give up. I cry, cry, cry. And I got C and I got C and I got C. And then I started to get B and I graduated with a B. I was like, really? She's like, yeah. And it hit me. I'm like, this lady first language is not even English. At least my own, even though my first language that was Kolokwa, but
yeah.
but
Well,
at
at
least
least you knew
I
what they
know
were saying
English.
to
I
you.
can speak English and I can write English. So all I had to do was try. So that's how I went back and applied again. And this time around, I sat down and I read the assignment, I read the book, and I went step by step and I gave myself the opportunity to try, right? To stop being
Mm,
scared because I saw someone who was in a similar situation. So this is why representation matters. It does. You have to. It's easy for me to come to you right now and say, oh, you can go to school and you can get a doctorate degree. But if I don't come to you at your level and you can see yourself through me to say, okay, despite my challenges, she had the same challenges. We have to be able to compare from that reference point. And
sure.
she was my reference point. And I actually felt like I had more advantage than her. That was what encouraged me to go back because I'm like, wait a minute, this lady can barely speak English and she passed nursing research. And I'm sitting here like, I can't do this. I'm going to go do this. I was jealous, but it was a good jealousy,
It
I
was a
guess.
good jealousy. It was a good jealousy to have, and also motivational. And I think that's the purpose of this show, because someone like yourself coming here telling your story and being very raw about it,
Mhm.
hopefully encourages someone. And we are not just speaking to people in Liberia. There are people I met in this country, like you were telling the story about working at a fast food restaurant. There are
Yeah.
people I met in this country. We started work in a certain place, and sad to say, those individuals are still there.
Yeah.
You know, and so there are people also here in the United States who sometimes maybe it's lack of a model to follow. They don't have that role model to follow, or they don't see themselves in someone else's, and as a result, they just feel very comfortable in that particular place. And
Yeah.
so we all been there. And that makes this story very relatable, and hopefully it encourages someone else here in the U.S. or in Liberia, someone who is sitting and contemplating, thinking, maybe I'm too old to go back to school. Maybe I'm not just good for college. Maybe I'm not a college type.
Mhm.
Hopefully, that person can take the next step to move. And so we have about 11 minutes to actually end this broadcast. So I
Okay.
really want to go into, I want to, Mr. George, what took you so long? But
I'm trying to get electric socket. But go ahead. Go ahead. I'm enjoying the story. We have a few
Following
minutes
the
to go.
story.
So
Okay.
yeah, we
Okay.
got a
oh,
few
I
minutes.
think
But I already want to go now. I want to go now into maybe just kind of clarify for someone, because one of the whole idea behind this thing is, what is the difference? Some maybe Musu or Lopu is sitting in Liberia and say, what's the difference between getting this bachelor's degree? Why can you not be satisfied with bachelor? I mean, with associate degree as a nurse?
Mhm.
And why do I need a bachelor? Why do I need to go again and get a doctorate? So, what
Mhm.
are the different steps? I mean, does each of those particular things come with advantages, disadvantages? If you can just clarify that for someone who is kind of listening.
So, in America, there's different categories of people in America, and this is not about race thing, but when you are immigrant, right? You need to be the best of the best to have the same opportunities that other people are having. So, and
Mm,
like I told you the story earlier about applying, about getting this position, they told me I didn't have a bachelor's degree. They ended up hiring somebody that did not have a bachelor's degree either, but that person did not look like me. Okay.
mm,
So there are times they'll be willing to bend the rules and accommodate other people based on their relationship with them. But when you are a minority person, you have to be overqualified to get the best of opportunities. And I knew that because I saw it day in, day out. So reason I went back to get my bachelor's because I wanted that position. And then I decided I didn't want it anymore. It wasn't that important because I was scared. And then I saw someone else, and then I went back and did it. Um, and then from there, I realized that, you know what? I wanted to do something else because, again, the more you practice, right? That's the thing about confidence. Confidence, if you do something every day, one step every day, you start to build that confidence in yourself and your self-esteem that, okay, I can do this. So now that I was able to pass CNA, I was able to pass LP, and I was able to pass associate degree, and I got through a bachelor's program that I never in the world thought I could finish, nursing research. I mean, I'm like, keep going, Oretha. What's the worst that can happen? You're just gonna be scared, but you're gonna do it scared, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm ready for the next step. Now I'm gonna go and do a master's, and this time around, I'm gonna shoot high, right? I'm like, I'm gonna go high. So I applied to Johns Hopkins University, and I'm like, I'm going to the nurse practitioner program, and I had straight A's out of my bachelor's program. So I did volunteer work. I did everything to make my application perfect, right? Only to hear back like few months later, I got denied. That
Wow.
crushed me because I worked so hard for that application. I did everything I needed to do, and I thought I was the perfect candidate. And I'm like, maybe I'm not meant to be a nurse practitioner. And then I said, you know what? I don't know who you're fooling. What do you think you are, Aretha? You a girl from Liberia. I don't know what made you think you can go to Hopkins and you can go to the top nursing school in the country. I started to pity myself again. I started to cry, and I didn't want to move forward. Then I said to myself, you know what? Maybe you weren't meant to do extraordinary things. Maybe you were meant to do ordinary things and make it extraordinary. So you may not go to the best schools or have the best labels, but you are a fighter and you're going to keep trying. So I started applying to every other schools. And I wasn't going for the label, I was going for the expertise, I was going for the education. And then I got accepted into two other schools. I figured out the one that was going to work best for my finances, and I got in and I went through that program. And you know what? I was the best. I studied, I applied myself. I was so mad at Hopkins. I'm like, I am going to be the best nurse practitioner they ever seen, whether I went to Hopkins or I went to Harvard or wherever I went. And I came out great. I got a job in a month time, and I rocked that job. Okay. And then and then I met other people that were from Hopkins while I was working with them. And they used to come to me to ask me questions. They used to come to me to mentor. Then I was like, take that, Hopkins. But I mentioned that to say that a lot of us compare ourselves to other people, like, oh, because I didn't go to Harvard or I didn't go to Yale, so it's not nothing. Your journey is unique to you. You know, it took me 20 years to get a doctorate degree. And I thought I was going to do that in 8 years, but it took me 20 years. And I drop out and start again, and I drop out and start again. And then I would try to pep talk myself to continue. But it wasn't a linear process. It wasn't straight to say, oh, I knew I was going to do this, and I always knew I was going to be successful. No, it was a lot of tears, a lot of crying, a lot of, I don't need to do this. It's fine. And then you pick yourself back up, and then the people you associate yourself with, your community. Because when you see Esther doing it, you're like, wow, Esther can do it with 4 kids. I'm going to go for that too. Right? So you will find people that you way out of your league that you can't go. Don't go compare yourself to Rihanna and the Beyoncés of the world. You have to find someone from your point of reference. Like, okay, Dr. Quita Roberts has 5 kids. She got a doctorate. I can do this. I got 4 kids. She got 5. I got 1 on her. I can do this. You know?
Speaking of Quita Roberts, she'll be here next week. So let her enjoy her vacation. She'll be here next week. But, you know, there's this conversation going on behind the scene, you know, and I'm just reading the comments as we go. One of the things I think we have highlighted on the flyer was the fact that I think you are a life coach, or maybe a weight loss coach, something. And someone had actually just mentioned, like, hey, I'm waiting to hear this weight loss thing. Okay. And Caroline is in the background. She's like, nope, this is all about my girl. It's not about the weight loss thing. So if you care to just say something, I'm not saying give consultation, but if you care to say something about the work you do and how people can contact you, let's talk about it as we have 5 minutes to wrap the show up.
Okay. So yeah, I run a weight loss clinic in Maryland, Pragmatic Health coaching initiative. I do medical weight loss, but I also talk about a lot of nutrition because, your health is wealth. You can get all the degrees, you can get all the success, but if you're going to die of a heart attack, what's the point, right? So
Mm.
I do encourage women to take better care of their body, and one of those things is fighting obesity. So I'm very passionate about that. Myself, my weight loss journey, I started taking GLP-1, which is semaglutide, and I lost 40 pounds. And I'm like, wow. So that's one thing about me. If I discover something or I learn something, I can't shut up about it. I would talk about it, encourage people, and try to teach and try to mentor, because I didn't have that in my life, right? So now that I've reached this point, I try to scream it from the rooftop. So definitely, I'm a big advocate about health when it comes to obesity in the community. Black women, 8 out of 10 Black women are obese, especially when it comes to African women. A lot of us are fat, unfortunately. So you have to take care of yourself. And then a lot of us have this thing that, oh, if you take this medication, you have so many side effects. Oh, I don't want to try this. I don't want to try that. If you have a headache, do you worry about the side effect of Tylenol, or do you take it? You take the Tylenol. So if you're struggling with weight problem and there's a medication that can help you control your appetite and help you lose weight, why wouldn't you give it a try? You do the research. You listen to the expert. Just like when you have a surgery, someone tell you you got bad knee, you need a knee replacement. You don't say, "Oh, I'm worried that it could go wrong." Right? You go ahead
Yeah.
and you do your research and you do the knee surgery. So we need to be more open minded when it comes to our health and when it comes to new things. Get out of your comfort zone. So yeah, I run a weight loss clinic in Maryland, and I encourage people to look their best, your mind, body, and soul. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Berko. And we have about 2 minutes to end the show. We could go on and just keep going. I mean, your story is very inspiring, and I hope those that have heard your story today, they will be encouraged, whether they are here in the United States or whether they are in Liberia. That's the whole idea behind this segment. This could be you, because none of us here in the US, whether you are Liberian in Europe or you are Liberian in the US, none of us just got here and then boom, we got everything made. We
No.
work towards it. We set goals and we stick to those goals, and we work towards our own successes. And so the idea is to pass that knowledge on to other people, to encourage them to do better when they get here, when they
Mhm.
have the opportunity, seize it. So I just want you to take the last 2 minutes of our time here and just speak directly to our friends, encourage someone who's listening to the broadcast, and how they can be another Dr. Berko in the future, another version of you.
Okay. Well, to anyone listening, or to the people in the diaspora or Liberia, I just want to say that you have complete control of the way you want to live your life. You can decide today that I want this and go after that. The key is to be intentional about what you want. But first, you need to know what you want. Once you reach that point where this is what I'm going to go after, you just start working from there one day at a time. I know everybody's situation is different. I can say, oh, you can overcome anything because I don't know your situation, but I know that your mindset is everything. The difference between those that are successful, those that are living their best life, and those that are not is the way they think, is their mindset. So if you try to think differently, if you try to see yourself differently, if you try to see yourself as this powerhouse, this person that can achieve everything, this person that's been through so much and you have built so much resilience so that you can take on the world. You see yourself as someone who is comfortable being uncomfortable. That is how you get to that point to realize what exactly you want and go for it. And you also have to have faith in yourself. So whatever higher power you believe in, whether you believe in God, or whatever God you pray to, knowing that you have that power, you have the inner spirit to do whatever it is you want to do, that a hero is inside of you. Because if you don't see yourself like that, the world is not going to accept you. The world is going to accept whatever it is that you project onto it. And a lot of us, our biggest enemy is ourselves, fighting against ourselves, our inner thoughts. The moment you say, I want to do this, then you have that little thing in your head that say, who do you think you are that you're going to do this? So you first have to convince yourself first. The moment you convince yourself that this is what I'm going for, nothing else anybody say is going to change that. So you are your biggest rival. So don't even try to compete with anybody else. Try to compete with you, because you are the only one in your ear constantly, your inner voice, like, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this. So if you try to think different, if you try to just wake up in the morning and say empowering things to yourself, self affirmation. You just stand in the mirror and say, Oretha, today you're going to do this. Oretha, you are smart enough. Oretha, you are beautiful. Oretha, you can accomplish this. And you just say that to yourself and you empower yourself. You can reach your goals. So that will be my message wherever you are in the world. Your life is in your hands. You pray to your higher power, you pray to God, and you ask for direction, and you do things one day at a time. And don't compare yourself with anyone. Your journey is unique to you. Life is a marathon, it's not a race. Or you don't have to be a doctor. You can be the best barber the world have ever seen. You can be the best hairstylist the world have ever seen. Whatever your path look like, you the one know it, and you're the only one who can fulfill that. Nobody else, just you. So stay in your lane, believe in yourself, and the world will be a better place. Thank you so
All
much.
right. All right, guys, you've heard the story of Dr. Oretha Berko. Everyday Liberian, our own sister. She went through the first civil war, if you want to call it that, but she went through the civil war. She came to this country, the opportunities that she had some limitations, she had some struggles. From the very beginning, she was faced with some challenges, but she did not allow those challenges to actually keep her still. She kept moving. And as the show is going on, I'm getting text messages from friends. I'm getting there's one that just came from a brother, Thomas Wallow, and he said, "Don't forget, she is someone with 4 children. So if she can do it, 4 kids, and here she is, still pursuing professional career and doing everything she can to impact the lives of other people, not just here in the United States, but also in Liberia. I know time right now we didn't have time to go into her professional work she's doing in Liberia. She has some organizations in Liberia that she's contributing to. So not only is she impacting life in the United States, she's also impacting life in Liberia. And that is what it's going to take to make Liberia rise. If we want to see Liberia go in a better direction, we want to be proud of our common, country. We want to be proud of the place where we grew up from, the place that gave us this beautiful accent that nobody can duplicate. If you want to be proud of Liberia, come, embrace yourself, listen to what these professionals come and share on this broadcast. Take their story and let that stories motivate you to be a better version of yourself. If you can do that, my friend, you and we can go back to Liberia, make our country better, and one of you one day will be president of that country and make that country a better place. So until then, we'll see you next week. Dr. Quida Rabba is going to be here next week, and we are going to be discussing Mental Health Sunday. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you next week. All right.
So do we do a
So
debriefing? So I figure I stay around.
no,
Okay.
yeah, we pretty much, just want to say a big thank you to you for coming, and definitely this would not be the last. We'll definitely love to have you back here again so we can continue someday. So thank you again, and yeah, we'll be talking to you very soon. Stay safe.
Thank
Regards to
you.
your family.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Bye bye.